What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live. Just momentarily. I am here. My voice is here. Just trying to work out a little bit of the glitch in the matrix here. Obviously, you can't see me on screen yet. Nick is having his graphics card crash, so he had to restart his computer. And I think there I am. There I am, guys. Hello. Hi. No, not you. Not you. You. Hi. So what is going on, guys? Great day, bullish market, particularly for the Dogecoin, particularly for Doge. Here we are, just pierced through that 24-cent threshold. I think we are well on our way to 25 cents within the evening. If not tomorrow, is looking incredibly high probability. We will get Nick's thoughts on that as we proceed with the television show, the live stream here. What do we got in here? We got Bud Dickman, we got Mikey Tedasco, we've got Hump Deezy, we've got Zombie Doge Army, Doge Extra, I like that name, Doge Extra, Low Roller Quad Galaxy, Doodle Doo, I like that, Doodle Doo, Luminal, of course, and Dylan McDougal, good to see you, Dylan. And some more folks coming in, Larry Ramirez, and the list goes on, Guys, if you could just smash that like button before we get started, really appreciate it. Takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. Number one thing you can do to help an emerging channel like this break through those YouTube algorithms. Also, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, it's obviously hugely appreciated for all the time and efforts put in. You can super chat through YouTube, or you can super chat via PayPal through Stream Elements at the link pinned at the top of the chat. Whichever suits your fancy is cool with me. And then also if you aren't already a member, membership starts at just $4 a month. $4 a month, and that unlocks all the membership features. We do a lot of members-only streams, members-only content, and all those like cool badges and emojis that you sometimes see in chat from members will be accessed to you. Speaking of which, members, I don't know if you've discovered it yet, but I added 2 new emojis in the members-only emojis repertoire. And that is the Dojax. There's a Dojax astronaut, Dojax dog in there. And then there's also the Sadaf, the official Sadaf emoji is also in there as well. Anyway, welcome one, welcome all. Great to see all of you guys. Got a great show lined up for you tonight. Nick still trying to sort his situation. I'm still here with you guys. There we are, dragging me down. Just sorry, it's things are just a little bit topsy-turvy out of the start here, but we're getting settled in. We'll get it figured out. And I'm keeping an eye on things with Nick here, and as he restarts his setup, and hopefully that does it. If not, we'll just have to bring in Nick's audio, and then we'll do it to it. Ramon, and Zombie Doge Army are the first ever members to show us the new emojis. The first ever members to show us the new emojis. There they are. We've got Sadaf. We've got the Doge X. That's the first time I've ever seen them used and activated in the chat. So there we go, guys. There we go. Looking good. They look great. They look great. And yeah, so awesome. Super bullish day, guys. This is fantastic. We are outpacing the rest of the market in terms of Dogecoin. Let's take a look at how Doge has evolved over the last 24 hours here. Nick says he's en route to getting things on track with his camera, so he'll be joining us. He'll be joining us shortly. Don't worry about it, guys. But Doge is rocking almost 10%, almost up 10% over the last 24 hours. Just phenomenal breakout growth for Dogecoin. And why is this particularly significant? I'll explain it to you guys shortly. It is particularly significant because Dogecoin is up. I mean, Bitcoin is up about 3% over the last 24 hours, just riding under 50,000. Ethereum is up pretty much just trading sideways, right? It's up maybe a half a percentage over the last 24 hours. So let that set in. And then also think about this. Think about this. Think about what I tell you guys on this show all the time. What do I tell you guys? What was I just talking about last night, those of you who are listening? This is a very common theme. It's a very common theme. I said, don't worry when Doge isn't pumping, when Bitcoin and Ethereum is pumping. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Because I know how this works. We have very recent crypto data analysis to reflect on, to know how this usually plays out. And how does it usually play out? Usually when Bitcoin and Ethereum take off more bullishly for a few days and Dogecoin seemingly is just standing still, I'm never discouraged by that, because I know 9 times out of 10, right around the corner, is a bull run just as powerful, if not more, wherein Dogecoin is going to break out and run independently from Bitcoin dominance. And that's what's happening right now. It's a perfect example of what's happening right now. We are up 10%, guys. We are up 10% in the last 24 hours. Well, there's been much more modest increases in the other top two, ETH and Bitcoin. This is an extraordinary breakout. I will get to. I see some questions, some comments in the chat that I will get to momentarily. At this time, I'm going to try to bring in Nick's audio. Nick, are you with us? Hello, Nick. Are you with us? I'm not getting Nick's audio at this time either. Let me check my settings. Nick's having. This is the first time I've seen Nick have issues on his end. It's usually me that has, if any, has issues on my end. But oh well. We'll try again. Nick, are you there? Can't hear Nick. I'm also not seeing any volume level from you either. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. I double checked my settings on my end, and I don't think it's anything to worry about on my end. So anyway, hopefully Nick will be able to join us. Hopefully he'll get things sorted out on his end there, but I'll just keep on trucking here and hope for the best with Nick on his end. So we have a comment in the chat that says, why is no one talking about Floki next to the Tesla car? I feel like Tesla will accept Dogecoin soon. I won't say that nobody's talking about that. I made a meme. I made a meme last night just about that, and I'm going to show you guys. And I posted it on Twitter last night. Let me just scroll down here. And it looked like this. Can you guys see that? It might be hard to see. That's cool. There we go. Now you guys can see it. So I said Floki plus Tesla equals Tesla accepting Dogecoin. Yeah, so yeah, I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware of what the potential signaling was with something like that. I tend to think that this was Elon shooting us a signal about an emerging, incoming Dogecoin acceptance to Tesla. So this might be it, folks. This might be the signal, the shot across the bow that Elon is sending us to give us a heads up that we may be seeing sooner than many anticipated the acceptance of Dogecoin to Tesla. Let's see here. So far, it doesn't look like Nick's having any luck yet, unfortunately, guys. So we'll just Nick, if you can hear me, I think you can. I would just try quitting Discord and then logging back into Discord again, like quitting the Discord app and coming back in again. Sometimes that will do it when you're resetting something like this. So I think this is big. I think this is potentially a huge signal from Elon Musk. Very few things that Elon Musk tweets out is without some more significant meaning or some more cryptic messaging behind them. I really don't see why this particular picture that he posted would be any exception to that rule. Louis Doge Millie starting things off with the first super chat of the night. Appreciate that. $2 super chat says Dogecoin is forever. I love it. Thank you, Louis Doge, for the first super chat of the night. And let's see what's else is going on in the chat here. What is your Dogecoin price predictions for the end of the year? For the end of this Friday, rather. William Hatfield asks. I would skew that my predictions to it be a little bit more modest. Let me take a look. I would say that it's not outside of the realm of probability that Dogecoin will come in at around 28 cents, 27. I'm going to go with 27 cents by the end of this Friday. Now, I do think that there's going to be a lot more bullish action, mind you, coming in closer to the middle of the month. The middle of the month is where I think things are really personally going to let loose there. So I wish Nick was in here. He could maybe offer a counter, because I think Nick is even a little bit more bullish than me. He thinks it's going to happen a bit sooner than that, as far as things really catching legs. But we'll see. Kyle, thank you for your $2, your 2 months of membership, and Dojax to the moon. Yes, Dojax to the moon. We had a great productive live Twitter space just shortly before I went live here tonight, and it was with Matt Wallace, myself, and the metaverse developer of the Dojax project, and all three of us were talking about Dojax and Dogecoin, and there were a lot of folks in there. It was, and we were taking some questions too, and people had questions about the details of the Dojax metaverse to basic questions like, how do I buy Doge? How do I accumulate Doge? So it was cool. And the Dojax project is moving along really nicely, really closing in now on a solid 80% minted. We're probably going to reach 80% minted tonight. It's very close. I think last time I checked, the project was about 30 minutes away from getting to 2,000 left on a 10,000 minted project. So right now we're just down to 2,000. The last 20%, and I think those are going to go pretty quickly. Derek says 30 cents by this weekend. I could see it. I could see it. What's up, D. Ramirez? When does your bet on wallets with Nick end? Pretty soon. It ends pretty soon. I think I got maybe a couple days left. I think I'm probably about Thursday, I would guess. All right, so I think we're going to try Nick again. Nick, can you hear me? Nick, make sure you're not muted on your end. I know he's literally calling through Discord right now. I'm not sure. I'm not getting a volume level on him at all. Something I can do, I can try shutting down Discord on my end, but then you guys will be without me for a moment. But I suppose we could try that real quick. Just a second, gang. Just hold tight. Don't panic. You're going to see me disappear for literally 60 seconds tops, probably more like 30 seconds, but we'll try that. All right, I'm back. Nick, are you with us? No, Mr. Balls. No, Mr. Balls. I've tried everything in my capacity. We are mourning. We are mourning for Mr. Nick Balls' technical hiccups here. So we'll just keep on trucking here and hope for the best. And hopefully we'll hear Nick's majestic voice interrupt me at some point. We'll see. Doge Extra coming in with $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Yo, Steve, it's Big Bird Crypto from Twitter. Love the space tonight. Thank you for joining it. Thank you. I'm glad you saw it. I'm glad you checked it out. I think someone I saw in the Discord, someone in the Dojax community will be uploading that space to YouTube later tonight or tomorrow. So look for that, you guys. Look for that. So in the event that you missed the space that Matt Wallace hosted with me, that will be on the YouTubes. We've got no balls here on the show tonight, someone says. Yes. Not a good feeling, folks. Not a good feeling to be ballless when you were anticipating such things this evening. But that's all right. We'll keep on trucking here. We'll keep on trucking. What's going on in the chat? Shiba Inu. Someone shilling their Shiba. I'm not the biggest fan of Shiba, but hey, it's pumping today for sure. I think it's up to about 65% last time I checked. I probably wouldn't recommend buying in right now. You would be buying in at a top if you were indeed going to think about going in on the fence with that. If you're an existing holder, things are going quite well for you today. Things are going quite well for you. I probably attribute the recent Shiba pumping to even more additions to platforms that they have recently been put on, to my understanding. So I think that's probably the majority of what's driving that right now. Is it possible for Shiba to hit 1 penny? I think it'd be pretty improbable. Last time I looked on how big that market cap would have to be in order for Shiba to accomplish that would be pretty astronomical. I think it's. I wish I remembered the answer to it, but I remember I crunched the math on it. It was just. It'd have to be absolutely astronomical. So I don't see. I'm not wishing Shiba investors ill by any means. Please understand that. But I don't see it hitting a penny. Let's see here. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, thank you, Zombie Doge Army. It's lower energy with balls removed, Patrick says. Ouch. Well, I will do my best to champion the rest of the stream, guys. But those of you who watch me frequently know it's not uncommon for me to do a live show by myself. This is nothing new, guys. This is nothing new. Yeah, so here we are. We're looking at a 30-minute chart is what you're looking at right now, and just some very, very healthy growth. And what I mean by that is there's almost the ideal amount of retracements here that we're looking at while ascending upward. That's just the kind of healthy growth that you want to see as we move forward here. Right now we are trading comfortably stabilized over the 24-cent mark. Even if we could just stabilize here the rest of the night into tomorrow, I think that'd be a fantastic place to end up. And from everything I'm seeing right now, I think that's a pretty fair probability. I think I got, let me try something.
Steven, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I switched me over to
the way. Yeah, I don't know why. My audio doesn't work in the recording room.
Okay.
On my phone.
Well, we'll see. We have a little bit of a lag on the live, so we'll see if I show up on the screen in the waiting room, but it should come through all right, I think. We'll find out momentarily as we got about.
This is the night of technical difficulties for me, which I normally never have.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. All right.
By the way, I can't read chat like this, so you're going to have to help me out.
Sure. Just let us know if you can hear Nick. He's calling in through Discord on his phone, so just let us know if you guys indeed can hear Nick, and then we'll take it from there. Let's see, do these. Okay, what's up, No Tap? Good to see you. Yeah, wedge pattern is indeed there. Okay, they can hear you. So we are good to go. Nick finally worked it out. Thanks for sticking with it on your end until we found a resolution here. Nick is called in directly through his telephone via Discord. Nick, good to have you on. Right now we are seeing some fantastic growth. We've got Dogecoin up nearly 10% over the last 24 hours. We're trading comfortably above 24 cents. Bitcoin is up, but more modestly to the tune of 3%. Ethereum too, but under 1% growth. Is this not what we talk about often on the show when we tell people? We just had this a couple nights ago when Bitcoin and Ethereum were pumping like crazy. Dogecoin was standing still. Of course, all the usual suspects came out to kind of chide us and say, oh, Doge is dead. It's not going to do anything. It's not moving. Look, everything else is moving. And Doge, just give up on it. We see this time and time again, over and over again. And what do we say on here, Nick? What do we say? We say this is going to toggle. It always toggles almost all the time when Dogecoin and Ethereum pump. And the Doge is taking a break almost every time within a few days of duration. Dogecoin will start pumping like crazy to at least the degree or exceeding what Bitcoin and Ethereum were, while conversely, Bitcoin and Ethereum slow down. Your thoughts?
I completely agree. And you know what? When it happens, it usually happens for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Today was one of those days. And, I saw it pretty early on. I posted a status on Twitter, of course. I'm like, what's going on with Dogecoin? And some people thought that I had some sort of insider info and that I was snarkily posting this because I had some sort of inside intel or whatever.
Yeah.
I really had no idea. And after the initial rise, a lot of people thought, oh, that's it, it's over. And it went back down. It actually retraced to about the level it was at prior. So I was like, that was an interesting move, kind of similar to the one that we saw take place a few weeks ago when I made my 100K trade at 26 cents.
Right.
It was up and then it was down. But no, this one today. Now, of course, I can't look at a graph right now so I have no idea what it's doing at the moment. But it went down, it went up, it went down, and it came back up. So it was very encouraging to see that movement sustained throughout the day.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I could at least describe to you what we're seeing here. I've got a half-hour chart up right now with some healthy retracements with an overall uprising trajectory with wave pattern going on. And right now, green candle just kind of starting to bud as we're just a little bit over 24 cents. Now, we were at just 21 point some cents not too long ago, earlier this evening. So things are looking rather bullish again. Here we are, over 10% now, increase over the last 24 hours. Something I wanted to kind of tail back to you on that I noticed that you mentioned there was you said this always happens, seemingly happens without provocation, without any reason. Doge kind of just takes off like this, and most of the time this is what we've seen. As far as the real, more substantial growth, it doesn't necessarily always come from Elon. In fact, conversely, the more substantial raise in market value seems to happen very spontaneously. What do you think is behind these sort of spontaneous rises in Dogecoin?
You know, I actually got a phone call. I don't know if he's in the chat right now, but I was talking to Miles this morning, or maybe this afternoon. I was texting with him this morning, though. And then I got a call from Miles, which was hilarious. I love talking to Miles because it's like I get my own personal Miles video every once in a while. And it's great. We both get to pick each other's brains a little bit. And yeah, we were kind of conversing and trying to figure out, what was going on here. And of course, I'm friends with the Wall Street Bets chairman and the big head honchos over at Wall Street Bets. And I thought this might be coming from them. I think there was, I didn't actually see this, or I wasn't really on Reddit that much, but I heard they were going to try and, pump up Shiba Inu, which it did today too. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's since retraced since then. Again, I can't look at graphs right now, so I have no idea. Right. But I asked the head guy over at Wall Street Bets, I'm like, is this you guys? And he's like, I don't think so. He's like, at least that I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. So you know what? It's very interesting, and this is okay. Do you want to hear my Alex Jones level conspiracy theory for this one?
Always.
So I'm sure this is probably something we're going to cover anyway, but Facebook and Instagram were both down today. My Alex Jones level conspiracy theory, and by the way, I don't have put any credence behind this or not, but maybe it was Facebook or one of the big tech conglomerates shutting everything down so that they can get into the altcoin craze before they launch their version of tip bots within their platforms.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, that doesn't seem outside of the realm of probability to me. Terribly.
I'm not saying that's what happens. That's just a fun thing to think about.
Yeah, definitely. We see SHIB rise considerably today, or more. Was that more last night that it really took off? What is it doing right now? I know there is a certain level of retracement.
Yeah, I think it started. I think you're right. I think it started last night. I only looked at the chart on it like once today. And I didn't really actively check the times or anything. I just saw it was up. And by the time I think I checked on it, which was just a couple hours ago, or maybe it was, right around when I left for the gym, so about 4 or 5 o'clock our time, it was already starting to come back down. So,
right.
Interestingly enough, my old, I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but my former boss, the CEO of, not my last employer, the guy who fired me for making money, but the guy before him, he put an investment in SHIB. And he was, yesterday was his birthday, so I was congratulating him on his Shiba Inu gains.
Yeah, if you are a previous investor in Shiba, right now is a great day for you. Yesterday is a great day for you. I know that there's a fair amount of crossover with people that are predominantly Dogecoin investors who are just kind of temporarily leveraging Shiba to make some short-term profits and rolling some of that over into Dogecoin.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah,
I know a ton of people who leverage Shiba Inu to put into Dogecoin, like a lot.
Yeah, that's like more of a phenomenon than I first realized. So,
yeah, and you know what? I don't, and I've made this comment previously. I don't personally invest in Shiba Inu. I don't personally invest in any Dogecoin clone or knockoff.
Right.
Especially Shiba Inu with the way that they launched it. But that being said, if people make money on it, I'm happy for them. I think that, and especially if they want to put their gains into Doge, that's even better.
Yeah, agreed, and well stated there. I got another super chat here. Thank you, Mr. X. Good to see you, Mr. X. Says Steel Balls, best live stream on YouTube. Super chat war 1, 2, 3, 4. Mr. X declares a super chat war. I love it. Thank you, Mr. X, and good to see you back in the mix, sir. Getting back here. This organic growth really just has always fascinated me about Dogecoin. It was probably about, 4 or 5 months ago now that we saw Dogecoin's most significant parabolic rise, which took it from about 6 cents to about 45 cents in about a little more than 24-hour period. That was in the absence of any major announcement. That was in the absence of any breakthrough announcement. That was in the absence of any Elon Doge-related tweets or anything like that. What is going on there?
First day I was on your show.
Yet that was the first day. Yeah, we had like 1,200 people in here or something like that.
Yeah.
What do we attribute to this sort of action? Our former friend, should I say? I haven't spoke with him since he disappeared, but Upshad had a theory wherein what was going on the street, on the ground, in the community, as far as the enthusiasm towards Dogecoin was always on a 1 month delay, sometimes even up to a 2 month delay before it really took off, and that enthusiasm on the ground would reflect itself in the market. Do you suppose there's any truth to that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that time frame is like super applicable to what's going on right now, because obviously, things are moving up. And Dogecoin is kind of, obviously, he also used to describe like the million multiplier or whatever. When Bitcoin was at like 50,000, we were at 5 cents or whatever it was at the time. Obviously since then we've moved up quite a bit from there. But yeah, historically, if you just hit the past year, we've seen Dogecoin there's a delay, and I brought this up with Miles this morning or earlier today. I was just mentioning to him that if Plan B, we're all familiar with Plan B and his predictions, which were very accurate for September, calling Bitcoin at 43,000. His final prediction for December, I think, is Bitcoin at like 163,000, somewhere around there. I can't pull it up because I don't have a computer, but I would imagine that if Dogecoin is going to move up to the levels in which I'm looking to make my next move at, which is about $1.81, the 1.618 level on the Fibonacci retracement at the daily, I would imagine that it would probably happen sometime after Bitcoin hits that top out at whatever 160-something thousand, and that perfectly culminates with the timing of the AMC release. It perfectly culminates with the timing of Robinhood wallets, full Robinhood wallets, and then a few other things. And with those, I think that would be the catalyst to something big, like a Tesla announcement or something like that, which all kind of take place, or are supposed to take place, towards the end of the year or the beginning, early next year, January, February, something like that. So we could, see a delay in Dogecoin price peak at all-time highs to maybe a month or maybe 2 months after Bitcoin hits its all-time high, which is, in fact, I think, due to most people moving all of their gains out of Bitcoin or taking their profits from Bitcoin and then trying to make more money by putting them all into Dogecoin, which is, I think, what happened this last time around.
Yeah, yeah, some really good observations there. Some people are making some comments in the chat about some of the more unpleasant interactions and observations on behalf of the Shiba Inu community, and I have to say, from my experiences there, they were one of the more unpleasant communities that I've ever interacted with on social media. Of course, that's not everyone by any means, but I do notice that.
I think they've gotten better.
I think they've gotten better too.
Better.
I think they've gotten better too. I think when it was really bad, when you and I first started talking about Shiba, what was that, about 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And when we were covering that story, we actually warned people about investing in Shiba because we saw an inevitable problem with their fake token burn, which wasn't a token burn. It was they're simply using Vitalik Buterin's wallet storage to essentially give the perception of their project to give it more credibility. And we said literally the night before it happened, we said this is a very dangerous game they're playing because at any moment Vitalik Buterin will probably get fed up with this and not be having this, and will either just cash out or donate it or whatever. And to a degree, that's what he did the very following day, and then Shiba's market value crashed very significantly for that entire week. It took him a while to build back there. But the rise and the comeback of Shiba it's a very curious thing, right? I'm not quite sure what's driving it, aside from they must have a very strong, very active community. It's interesting how these platforms a multitude of platforms seem very eager to platform Shiba. It's just all very curious to me. I'm not quite sure what to make of it.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a low liquidity, but it's a lower liquidity token that sits a little higher in the rankings than most other lower liquidity tokens. And, to your point, Vitalik burned, you could say he burned, but he gave away all of his Shiba to the government of India. And I am still unaware of how much they've been able to cash in. I remember the last figure was something at like $25 million.
Okay.
I don't know what that is currently. Full disclosure, I have not looked into it since that little fiasco happened, so I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, it's easily manipulated, right? There's not as much money in it as Dogecoin or any other coin in the top 10. It's a token, so it's easily manipulated. But hey, if people got in at the right time and they've made their profits, hey, more power to them. I don't have anything wrong I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just personally, I don't invest in Doge knockoffs. That's just me.
Yeah, understandable. Guys, if you're new here, you're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. You're also hearing the voice of one of my co-hosts, Nick Balls. Nick is usually with us on camera as well, but he's having a little technical difficulties tonight. So if you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you and invite you to subscribe and hit on that notification bell. We've got an excellent community here. I think we have, hands down, one of the finest communities here in all the kind of crypto-centric, whatever you want to call it, world. And would love to have you be a part of our vision and what we're doing here. This is, I hate to kind of like brag on us a little bit, but pretty much how everything's been folding out, Nick, thus far, is pretty directly spot on between your and I's analysis. So, over the entire month of September, how things were going to play out. Now, a question for you. I seem to think that the major part of this bull run is kind of going to be suspended until the square middle this month, around the 14th, 15th, I'd say. I think that you were voicing sentiments, something a little bit more bullish in a more urgent fashion. Are you still feeling that way?
Well, if today is any kind of indicator as to what's going on with as far as price action towards the upside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could see, and I'll be waiting to see what Coins Kid has to post on Bitcoin for tomorrow. Of course, he's in the UK, so I wake up to his videos pretty much every morning.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what he thinks about it. I think Bitcoin got very close to breaching the 50K level.
Yes.
I don't know what I think it was like 49.8 or something. I can't remember because I can't pull it up, but it was in the mid to high 49s. So I'll be interested to see what he says about that. He typically does do videos on Doge, but just not very often. He might in fact make a video about Doge tomorrow just because of the move that it made today. But all in all, it's still looking good. I don't know if I would say that we're going to be hitting 50 cents, tomorrow or anything. But I do think that the bullish trend, if you will continue. And I do like Plan B's analysis. His market analysis has been spot on, for the most part. He says that Bitcoin is going to top out at 63K this month. If that's the case, I don't see why there's no reason why Dogecoin shouldn't be sitting in the mid 30s to maybe even 40 cents.
Yeah, so that's kind of, someone asked me earlier while you were trying to get your audio sorted out, where I saw Dogecoin by Friday, and I put it around there. I put it at about 37 cents if I had to put a prediction on market value on Dogecoin by Friday. Sounds like you'd come in around similar.
Yeah, I think if we continue in the path that we're taking, obviously taking today, it would be great. I think 37 you might be more bullish than me. I think it'd be great if we saw mid to low 30s. I think that would be reasonable.
Yeah. So we're seeing enormous volume obviously take place with Bitcoin in order for it to reach that 50,000 threshold. Now, in the past, every time we've seen Bitcoin get to that 50,000 threshold, it seems to spur a lot of media reaction because it's one of those big kind of definitive numbers. And obviously, because we are still living under Bitcoin dominance, that's obviously going to have a cascading effect all the way down. So we really do want to see Bitcoin not only pierce through that 50,000, but just stay there to at least find a new floor for a bit. Because in the past, that's seemed to have a very significant impact on the rest of the market. What do you say? Think we're going to be able to Bitcoin be able to pierce and stay through that 50,000 within the next 7 days?
I think certainly this week. I think that will be happen, whether it's invalidated or not through a move to the downside. I think that it'll at least touch and probably sustain near or around. I mean, clearly it's there. I think it's there currently, somewhere around that area. I will say this about Dogecoin specifically. We have been we've been on the daily time frame. We've been in a golden cross for, I think, since December. I can't pull up the chart, so I can't see it. But I don't want to make anybody feel away. But we actually hit a death cross on the daily with Dogecoin today. Now, prior to the previous, the golden cross that we actually hit, I think it might have been the prior death cross. Either one, they took place last year in October. It was, I think, October 17th. So it wasn't exactly the same day. It was later in the month. But
yeah,
we may in fact see the death cross that was created today on Dogecoin on the daily become invalidated by a quick reversal, and we might see a death cross, golden cross, which basically, if you see something like that in a very short period of time on the daily time frame, that generally means that you're invalidating the previous death cross. So we did see a death cross today. I don't want anybody to get it twisted, but the death cross that we saw today on the daily may become, I think, clearly, obviously, if the moves keep happening the way that they did, that will be, quickly invalidated within the next several days.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment there, Nick. Terms like that are second nature to us, but if you wouldn't mind just briefly, for the audience here that may be unaware of what both a death cross and a golden cross is, if you could just kind of summarize that for them.
Yeah, it's just a crossover one way or the other of the 200 exponential moving average over the 50 exponential moving average. Obviously, one is the death, one is the golden. And typically, people who measure death or golden crosses are doing it on the daily time frame. For example, Bitcoin recently, I think last month, printed a golden cross. And usually when Bitcoin prints a golden cross on the daily time frame, that's a very good signal. I can't remember the last time that it did that, but it basically marked the beginning of the bull run prior. I can't remember what year that was or when it was. I think it was the previous bull cycle. Again, I can't pull charts up right now, so I have no idea what I'm looking at. But yeah, it's just a move of exponential moving averages.
A move of exponential moving averages, correct. Bud says we are slapping the death cross in the balls. Get it? Hi, Steven. Hello, Mysterious Mina T. Good to see you back in the mix. Here we are at a really important kind of crossroads. What I mean by that, there's so many things formulating right now in favor of Dogecoin. So many things, so much work being done, both in front of house and behind the scenes. And just now we are starting to see Dogecoin show some next level signs of life. Now, with all this in mind, knowing what we all know, an interesting question for you, Nick. Does Dogecoin still need to rely on Bitcoin dominance to ascend in its value significantly in light of major adoption through AMC, incoming, high likelihood of incoming Tesla compatibility, etc. Eventually, when Robinhood gets its wallets and things of this nature, when these things start coming into fruition, into reality, and I believe that they will in the near future, does Dogecoin have the capacity to still rise and go parabolic style, whether or not Bitcoin is flourishing?
It's hard to say. I think on a daily, day-to-day price action, yes. I mean, obviously, Bitcoin dominance rules the markets for the most part. However, Dogecoin doesn't play by those rules. And we've seen that happen, 3 times already this year. Of course, one of those instances was due to, hectic market manipulation because of the SNL episode. But either way, Dogecoin does play outside of the rule book. And, from a day-to-day aspect, yeah, Dogecoin is being held under the foot of Bitcoin, as many others are too. I mean, it's just how the way it goes, Bitcoin dominance. But as we've seen, the powerful parabolic moves to the upside that Dogecoin has experienced within the past year have all been outside of Bitcoin dominance. So it's not necessarily a key factor, but it is, Bitcoin does play a role.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what slice of the pie is what. I mean, I agree with you in terms of there's no doubt in my mind that when these things occur that Dogecoin will achieve short-term parabolic rises. But as far as long-term, I mean, we are still, this market is still dictated largely by Bitcoin. So that spurs another question. This is something that I've been thinking quite a bit about, Nick. Why Elon has been waiting? Why Elon has been waiting? What is the main reason, the main thing that's holding Elon back from announcing Dogecoin Tesla integration? To me, it seems the number one reason is he's waiting for Bitcoin to do better. Your thoughts?
I think that, obviously part of it for Tesla is the environmental aspect, right? Which we've seen already, I mean, in just a brief since they've announced that they're not accepting it anymore, to now we've seen a country that is mining Bitcoin off of volcanic fumes. So, like, Bitcoin environmentally, environmental challenges are being, met and exceeded every day. And the same, Dogecoin is one of the cleaner, proof of work coins out there. Just, I believe, under XRP. I think that Elon the big reason he hasn't announced anything for Dogecoin is really the reliance on Robinhood and the fact that they need to release wallets. When 30% of something's supply can't be accessed by the users, it's kind of pointless to accept it when nobody, 30% of the people who own it can't use it. So I think that's probably the biggest factor that Elon and Tesla are waiting for to make that announcement. And we know that is coming. I mean, I think Vlad posted something today about the wallets, and he wouldn't be posting stuff on the daily if it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything you said there. I guess it just becomes clear there's a couple big reasons to me, big obvious reasons that we've just stated of why this hasn't happened yet. And I think those are super valid and super important reasons to weigh. I think ideally, Elon's well aware of this, that it would be much more advantageous to announce the Dogecoin Tesla integration once Robinhood wallets have been established and Bitcoin is sitting comfortably above 60K, something like that. I don't think this is going to be dragged out another year by any means, but I could see it being dragged out another 3 months or so. There's always a wild card. That wild card being the picture of his own Doge, his puppy Floki yesterday, sitting or laying on a Tesla, right? To me, this is obviously a obvious crypto shot across the bow, if you will, to let us know that this is an incoming situation. That picture could have been taken anywhere, but that puppy is atop of a Tesla with the Tesla logo in there. What do you say?
I mean, yeah, as far as like what do they call it, subliminal messaging goes, yeah, I think that's fairly accurate. I don't prescribe to the theory that like Elon is necessarily waiting for a price, right? Because it would make more sense for Tesla to accept Bitcoin or Dogecoin when it was cheaper, so that they could, get their biggest bang for their buck. I don't think it necessarily has to do with. I don't think that there's the Tesla or Elon is waiting for a price target. I think that they're waiting for maybe market stability, or in the case of Dogecoin, they're waiting for accessibility, for the users.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, to veer away to a next topic for a little bit, Nick. So, Grimes got caught up by the paparazzi the day before yesterday, and she made it more clear in an Instagram post that she said she was trolling but she happened to be carrying a copy of the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx, and so she allowed the paparazzi to be reading this in her extravagant gear and her dress, and then she later clarified in an Instagram post that she wasn't a communist and that it was more of a trolling effort. So I think that speaks better on her behalf anyway. My second question is, another celebrity just happened to be carrying around a copy of the Communist Manifesto. It's interesting. But it's kind of funny. To me, it just kind of was another sign that these two are probably not the best fit. I mean,
you don't say.
Grimes, it just seems like Grimes reminds me of the kind of girls I often dated when I was younger that were still in the process of sorting out a lot about themselves during during art school, like in art school, and and
I think we dated the same girls, Steve.
yeah, and just hearing her talk, and it just reminds me a lot of that. And while she's off doing that, Elon is changing a lot of working on changing a lot of the fundamental capacities for humanity. So it's just one of those things. And then now another story came out that says, oh, she's not all the way moved out of his house yet. They're separated, but she's still kind of staying there. I think if I had to guess, the actual realities of breaking up with a man is bountiful and full of resources. Elon might not be as attractive as maybe perhaps initially thought. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. I've dated these girls too. In fact, one of my first real love that we started dating in high school. We dated for like 5 years. She's one of the big. She is Grimes, basically. We ended up breaking up. She moved out to the West Coast, and then she ended up moving out to Hawaii, and now she's a lesbian. So, and she found out, I think, that I've got. I know for a fact she knows that I came into a bunch of money. I don't currently talk to this girl, but I see her on social media from time to time. Her and her hipster. She's like she's not really well.
You broke up there, Nick.
And her girlfriend is certainly a hipster.
What was the last thing you said there?
But she's very Grimes-esque.
Yeah.
And her girlfriend is certainly a hipster for sure. So yeah, I mean, Elon. I was talking to my girlfriend about this actually, and for those who don't know, my girlfriend hates Elon. And,
yeah.
We were basically discussing the fact that there's never going to be a girl that matches up to him. On a mental level, and on a physical level, he likes a very specific thing, which was weird because Grimes is not that.
Right.
Is what he normally is into. So, yeah, I mean, I saw the picture of her reading the book, but it was edited, and it said something like, God, what did it say? It was funny. I think my friend actually made the meme.
Oh, okay.
It was something like, here, I'm looking at it right now. He's got her sitting on the bench and it says, so you effed the monorail guy from The Simpsons. That's the book.
Okay.
So instead of the Communist Manifesto, it's so you banged the monorail dude from The Simpsons. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What's interesting to me is how there just seems to be a kind of an accepted level of, I don't know, I guess sympathy from our mainstream culture regarding the roots of communism, but at the same time, our perspective of fascism is completely intolerable. I'm not saying that's bad that we are that, don't get me wrong. I just think the double standard's interesting. For example, if she have been reading Mein Kampf, I think the reaction would have been much different. Now, communism, through Marxist ideology, is actually responsible for the deaths of even more people than fascism is in its totality. So it's just an interesting double standard there to kind of one is viewed as kind of like hip, right? It's kind of like got hipster cred to kind of like
Mm.
fashion yourself as being a armchair communist or having communist sympathies. On the other hand, one is completely unacceptable, and the other is kind of chic. It's just an interesting observation. You know what I mean?
Well, it's crazy. And you know what? I was one of these brainwashed kids in high school. And I think I've talked about it on the show before. I was running with, early on in high school, this is right after 9/11. I was running with a crowd of kids who were basically, faux communists. Because we grew up in one of the wealthiest areas in the country.
Yeah.
Outside of Chicago. And it was hilarious. I thought what they were doing, what I was doing was right. It wasn't until I got older and realized that, like, look, all these people, I should say all these kids in America who think communism is the bee's knees, they never had to live through Russia in the 80s or in this, even before when, with Stalin. They never had to live through, being a refugee fleeing Cuba. These are people who've never experienced communism,
Mm-hmm.
but they want to praise all the good things it's done. It hasn't. It really hasn't. It usually doesn't turn out that great.
Right.
Yeah. So that's just my personal take on it. I think if people who really, really loved communism could probably, go find your way into one of these countries. Try living there. If it's so great, you'll never have to come back. But unfortunately, I don't think that's the case for most of these people. They never had to experience communism, and they've been coddled under the amazing, loving grace of freedom. They don't realize that under communist regimes, you couldn't even discuss the fact that you didn't like your current form of government. So.
Well, to a certain degree, we can't hear now either. I mean,
yeah, but I
know. No, I'm not saying there's. I'm just saying there's hints of that here now. I mean, for example, anyone
more than ever, yeah.
Yeah, anyone that's following me on Twitter, make sure you're still following me on Twitter, because I've been getting numerous messages now that they've just been automatically unfollowed from me, and then they have to refollow me. So I got about 8 messages that said this just today. So if you were following me on Twitter, just double check to make sure you're still following me, because something real funny's happening over there, man. I don't appreciate it.
Well, something funny is happening to social media as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened with Facebook today. Look at what happened with Instagram today, and there was a whistleblower. I didn't read into the whole report, so I'm not the person you need to be asking these questions to, but I get the gist of it. And the gist of it is that, like, Facebook, these large, social media platforms, they clearly have an agenda, right? And they're clearly boosting traffic for particular posts that they agree with, and they're dumbing down traffic for stuff that they don't like. And unfortunately, I think what the whistleblower came out to say was basically, hype and tragedy and divisiveness sell, and so they'll twist that into whatever they need to make money. But if you don't play by their rules and you post something that they don't like, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's game over for you. And that's there's been a few platforms that have tried to buck this trend of, like, basically just letting freedom ring, and none of them ever take off, or they get involved in some sort of scandal and they get shut down. My mind goes immediately to Parler,
Mm-hmm.
Which was, I think it was less than a year that Parler was a thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. The state of technology regarding social media today is just, it's bleak. It's a bleak thing to look at. And you know what? As more incentive to kind of make your money while you can and stash a bunch away for the future, because we really don't know what is going to happen. No one knows.
Yeah, I mean, the term Orwellian obviously comes to mind.
Yeah,
it's wild to me. I think the reason why most of the alt tech platforms the attempts haven't flourished, it's a twofold thing. One, I don't think any of them have been quite executed properly. In my opinion, you shouldn't launch all these beta versions and then continuously keep trying to tweak it to attract people there. I think you need to do all your tweaking beforehand, so when you first announce that you have a new platform, when people first experience with your platform is a very positive one, is a super user-friendly one, one that's really easy to understand and easy on the eyes and just feels good using it. So there haven't been that many alt-tech platforms, or hardly any that I know of, that have been able to achieve that, in my opinion. Secondly, because of Google is a gatekeeper on gets between Google and Apple. They are the gatekeepers predominantly on deciding which platforms are even allowed to carry apps for people to download. So most of these, anyone viewed as a significant competitor, many times they won't even allow them to have apps available for people to download on the Apple Marketplace or in the Google Play Marketplace. This is not good. I don't know how much further I want to go on this topic on the air here, but I will just say this. I do think that we are in a place where we need some protections. We need some protections to ensure the average citizen's rights to self-expression, and I'll just leave it at that.
It's funny you mention that, Stephen, because I was listening to the White House press secretary today, and she basically exclaimed, like, clearly self-regulation isn't working, which is hilarious coming from that administration, to say something like that, which I think is, it's kind of true. But I will say this.
Did this sentiment come from the current one or the previous one?
Current.
Okay.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But I think something interesting that Facebook did right, that I think a lot of other social media platforms or ones that are launching could learn from, it was exclusive in the beginning. You had to be in college to get a Facebook. You could, like, I got my
That's
Facebook
right.
from my college.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, those were the best days of Facebook. And there was very little, like, there was very little divisiveness. Everybody was, had classes. It was like basically who was having a party on Friday or Saturday night, or what you missed, that week in class, if you skipped class to go smoke some weed or something. And, like, it was a pretty chill place to be. And then it opened up to, like, your Aunt Karen or whoever. And, now it's gone down this insane rabbit hole of, like, QAnon craziness and all this other stuff. And it's like, can we just get back to the fun times? But
Yeah,
I think that if a platform really wants to grow into the 2020s and become the next Facebook or become the next Twitter or whatever it may be, it has to be something that in the very beginning stages at least is tightly controlled and only available to a select few. And I'm not talking about monetarily people who have the means or whatever. I'm talking about, like, a subset of the population, maybe, young adults or college kids is a perfect example. But these are the ways that you really need to build a really good social media platform. I've thought about doing this in the past. I thought about when It's All Risky. I've mentioned this before. When It's All Risky got taken down for a couple days or whatever, I was thinking about opening up my own version of Twitter called the Doge Pound or something like that.
Well,
where people could free.
I think you'd have run in troubles with that name for obvious reasons. Pre-existing project, but
at
no.
At the time I didn't think about it. But yeah, I mean It's just a place where people can talk about cryptocurrency or investments and not have to say every 10 seconds, I'm not a financial advisor. You know what I mean? Like just somewhere like that where free thought and thoughts about the financial markets can be, basically announced without the fear of being called a scam artist or whatever it may be. So,
right.
Just something to think about.
Yeah. No, a lot of interesting thoughts there. It's my view that going forward, freedom of speech should be as integral to social media as wallets are to trading platforms. Frankly, it's just now there should be a few hard limits to that in terms of the basics. We know what those basics would be, threats to, intent of harm, etc., like things like this. But and there's obvious things we can agree on that shouldn't be allowed, right? That are we could go over those. But in terms of people, I mean, what we're seeing, folks, we're seeing a level of collusion between government and these platforms to literally curate attempts to curate and engineer people's perspectives and opinions. And you don't necessarily, we're not talking about just the ban of people with very extreme opinions by any means. We're talking about people that have maybe express a nuance in their perspective that might be different than what your current government's opinion is on it. And then all of a sudden, these people are wiped clean or they're severely throttled, etc. What baffles me the most about this topic is why it's partisan. Why is there any sense of partisanship to an issue that affects everyone significantly? It wasn't that long ago, Nick, that folks, the same folks that would protest the Iraq War, for example, back in the day, to be honest, I was one of those people. Those would also be the same people that would be for values like freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Now we're seeing a level of collusion between corporations and government that is so disturbing to throttle people's basic rights of self-expression. I don't see a lot of people doing much about it. I don't see hardly any of our elected leaders doing anything about it. Even the ones that say they're about this are just pretty willy-nilly as far as prioritizing it. I mean, this could be a very effective platform for anyone running in the future to make it kind of like one of their hallmarks, in addition to crypto, frankly. That could be a tremendous opportunity. You have any thoughts on what I said there?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the amount of exposure social media has garnered over the past 10 years, that should be a huge talking point to people who are trying to become elected officials. And it's unfortunate that we see so many new young elected officials. I'm not going to name names, but I think we could both agree on one specifically that bows to these platforms and basically lets them do whatever they want. And to some extent, there's always that argument like, look, they're a private company, they can do whatever they want, or even if they're publicly traded, they're only really tied to their shareholders. And to some extent that's true, but if you want to have your base of operations be within the United States, you got to play by some sort of rule book. You can't just be, I mean, look, our former president was kicked off of Twitter. You know what I mean? Whether you agree or disagree with some of or whatever he said, you still have the right to free speech. And I think, we all think that there's a very clear lines in the sand as to what, exactly where that goes. But for some people, that those lines there's so many that you couldn't even count. Um, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I would hope that in the next several years we see more politicians or at least people in positions of power that are outside of the corporate world make that a key factor in what they're trying in the platforms that they're trying to run on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this, in my opinion, it is astonishing to me. Hello to Crypto Batman, by the way. I see in the chat, Crypto Batman says, "Now rules are dumb. Not rules are dumb. Give me Doge, please." good to see you. Good to see you in the mix, Crypto Batman.
It's been a minute. He hasn't been on in a little while.
I know. We haven't seen him.
Missed him.
Yeah, he hasn't been broadcast as much, and it's good to see him make a cameo here for sure. For sure.
I want to go on his show soon. I haven't been on his show in a long time.
Me either, my friend. Me either, friend. And Crypto Batman, you always have an open door here. You know that. And I haven't kept up with his Bobby Sticks collection lately, but I think it's still doing well.
Yeah.
I think he's still making subsidiary lines off of the Bobby Sticks NFTs. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Bobby Sticks collection. Even though I'm too much of a pleb to own any Bobby Sticks, but I'm a fan. So yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Did you see? Speaking of which, did you see that Andrew Yang just announced today that he's shifting out of the Democratic Party and into independent?
I did not.
Yeah. He announced that today. I thought that was interesting.
I'm glad. I think there needs to be more of that because clearly the two-party system has failed us. It's just like evident more than ever, and I wish more people with higher, more visible, people with more visibility would make that move. I wish that was more of a thing.
I agree. I don't think the time has ever been more ripe. I don't think the culture has ever been more ready and more open to independent candidates. Frankly, I think the time is more ripe than ever. I think real viability and potential is really there more than it ever has in the past. Before, it was always like you would maybe see an independent get elected on it was kind of like a fringe phenomenon that would just happen periodically. But now I think the environment is just ripe for it. Plus, technologically, and moving into the era that we are, it's going to require a lot of new ideas to tackle these things. And unfortunately, if you are tethered too much to a particular one of the major parties' platforms, sometimes it can really stagnate the efforts and that are really needed to espouse and work for more innovative solutions, in my opinion. Alan Schneider coming in with a $2 super chat. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. Thank you, Alan Schneider. Thank you. Anyway, I would just like to go on the record before we toggle back to something more crypto-centric. I would like to go on record as saying all of my socio-political views, perspectives, and opinions are in complete and total alignment with the terms of service of Twitter, YouTube, and Google. So I just wanted to state that. So where are we at with Doge right now? Doge is right at 24 cents. Big red candle coming down, retracement. I think that I wouldn't make too much of that either way. Crypto Batman says, okay, I'll show up. Okay, we got to get a date on, man. I've been trying to get you on the show for months, my friend. So we got it. Let's
he could stream too. We could go on his.
Yeah, either or, man, either or. But we all love Crypto Batman here. Most of my viewership here is very familiar with his show, and I notice there's a lot of whenever I stream Crypto Batman's. Whenever I'm watching Crypto Batman streams, I'm like, Oh, I know like more than half of this audience.
Yeah.
I know
for
more
sure.
than half of these names from in here. It's there's a lot of crossover there. I would say the two biggest crossover shows here. It's actually pretty. There's three actually. It's Crypto Batman. It's obviously Matt. Final Stand. I would say it's actually a little less Final Stand of crossover between him and I. And then Living with Lucy. There's a lot of crossover between Crypto Batman and Living with Lucy. And I can see it. I feel like this show, it kind of has a little bit of her vibe. It definitely has a little bit of Crypto Batman's vibe. And then we definitely do our own thing, you know.
I was watching Jerry before I came on. Jerry was streaming for Meta.
Yeah.
And there was a few guys from our chat in there.
Oh, those traitors! I'm gonna call them. Yeah, I didn't even know Jerry was still streaming. I honestly haven't watched that kid stream since the initial parabolic excitement days of Doge at around January, February.
Yeah. He was the guy back then, man. He was the dude. I mean, it was him and Matt for the most part in the very beginning.
Yeah, at that point it was like if you had a YouTube channel that was already set up and running and you're doing kind of Doge-centric content, you were very, very well positioned.
Yeah. Instant like 2K per video. That was nuts.
Let's see.
Hey, real quick before we move on to crypto news, as we've kind of brought it up in the beginning.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear about my experience with a psychic?
Yes. So tell people what your girlfriend dragged you into, and then tell us how it went.
Okay, so this month is our 3-year anniversary. It's actually on the 27th, but we're celebrating. This week is, by the way, after actually tomorrow is probably the last day I'll be on, because Wednesday I'll be out at her place, and then Thursday is the Mr. Olympia. The Mr. Olympia contest starts Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday we're going away to a resort for our anniversary. But she's always talking about our past lives, and she says, I'm an old soul, according to not just her, but according to my parents as well. They say, when I was born like an 80-year-old man.
Benjamin Buttons.
Yeah, exactly. So she decided to book this appointment with a past lives reader. Now, she's not a medium. She's not like a typical psychic. She basically finds out who you were in past lives. So we got there. I didn't pay for this, by the way. A lot of people, they're like, why would you buy such a thing? I didn't pay for this, people, so relax. We get there. It was far. It was like an hour away from where we are. So we drive up there, and the lady was super nice. By the way, I had a great time. But we sit down, we start doing the reading, and it's like cards. You flip these cards and all this different stuff. And it quickly becomes about... The lady said that I was the oldest soul that she probably has ever met, if not like one or two other people, maybe like in the same realm that I am. I'm so old that I'm not considered an old soul. I'm like an ancient divine entity.
That's interesting. Do you think there's a correlation between the more money that you pay her, the older your soul becomes?
Well, this is prior. She didn't know who was paying her.
Okay.
And this was before we paid her. Okay. So, and coincidentally, actually, my girlfriend forgot to tip her too, because we paid after. Yeah,
I bet you're not quite such an old soul anymore, Matt.
I know. Well, it was freaking $160 for 2 hours, so I think she got taken care of pretty well.
Okay.
But it was interesting. So, we did all this stuff, and my girlfriend found out that she was actually like a Dr. Quinn medicine woman back in the olden days.
Okay.
And she was a writer too. And the whole time, this lady was she was very concerned that throughout my lives, I've been beating myself up because my profession throughout most of my lives has revolved. I was and have always been a warlord. Specifically a warlord that, and it's actually funny, I pulled this card and this was the most dead on thing. It said my career was always like centered around transportation, which is hilarious because that's what I actually used to do.
So you're a transportation warlord?
Well, like in transportation in the sense that like warlords or, kings or whatever, whoever's like, you're moving troops around a battlefield, right? And she actually did hit a nail on the head. Like she said that my lineage comes from Egypt.
Okay.
So I was like Pharaoh, which is kind of true. I mean, I am Lebanese, and I do have a lot of my ancestry hails from, northern Egypt, which is interesting. She got that right. I mean, I don't think you could really tell that by looking at me, but maybe she did. Some of it was spot on. Some of it was kind of like hokey, chick kind of like ethereal bullshit. Yeah, but some of it was freaky accurate. And I was open. I didn't. It wasn't like I was there to like tell this lady that the whole thing was a whole load of garbage. Yeah. But I had a good time as far as like the entertainment value. Again, yeah. I didn't pay for it, so it didn't matter to me. But I will say this, man. After we left that place, we were freaking wiped out. I don't know if it was the drive or whatever. We came back here, and I typically I don't take really great naps, but I fell asleep for like an hour and a half in a position that was all messed up, and I totally jacked my back up. But it was like, it was kind of like taxing going through your past lives. It kind of like took it out of me.
Maybe she just put sedatives in your water.
It could be. I stepped out a couple times using the restroom, so that is very possible, and probably why I almost crashed the car on the way back. So seriously? Yeah, maybe that has something to do with it.
If you put a light sedative in customers' refreshments, that could definitely have an effect on.
It was kind of trippy. Like the way that she was describing everything and like what we ended up talking about. And I mean, it was 2 hours. I can't really give you the whole spiel, but I, tried to hit the major points.
That's why you guys were taxed. You're listening to this lady drone on for 2 hours about past lives.
We should
tucker me out too, man.
Dude, we should, we should have done an hour. We didn't know how it was going to go. So like, I wish we would have just done an hour, but
yeah, again, 2 hours. Hold on, let me get to this message from Marcus.
Yeah.
I definitely want to circle back to this. Marcus Lukey, Germany says hello from LA this time. Like Dogecoin and crypto, I will pump on the next weekend on the Mr. America contest as a guest. I will tell everyone that the smaller guys are going to Mr. Olympia. Got you, Nick. Marcus is a big gym rat too, over from
he's
Germany.
And he's always traveling. He's everywhere. He's in LA. He's in Germany. He's in Belgium. He's all over the place.
Yeah, man. I love it. Good to hear from you, Marcus. So, let me get this straight. You're a Lebanese Egyptian transportation warlord.
Correct. And you know what? I'm not, and I'm supposed to start being more grateful. She actually, so a lot of it, I was waiting for the moment where it had to deal with money, right? That's what I was there for. I didn't specifically ask her if Dogecoin was going to take off in the next few months, because I already know. But she basically said that I'll never really have to worry. Like, I'm pretty much, I've been wealthy for millennia, and that I need to be thankful and grateful for everything that I have, which is something I do. I actively try and like take moments out of the day to realize like how be appreciative for the life that I have and the life that I live, which is I think something a lot of people could benefit from. That's just good life advice,
right?
But yeah, so basically I was a warlord, and she basically wanted me to not beat myself up for all the thousands of people I've killed, because I basically I had good reason to do it, so that was the gist of it.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. Well, it sounds like it was entertaining at the very least, right?
Yeah, and of course, the place smelled like a hot box of patchouli, and there was all these crystals and stuff, and yeah, no, it was cool.
Always the patchouli. Always the patchouli.
I always,
I think one of the secrets is in that trade is to tell people, one, things that are ambiguous enough that happen to a lot of people or have happened to a lot of people, and then two, tell people things about themselves that are very flattering, because who doesn't want to hear that?
Well, that's what one of my followers on Twitter told me. He's like, you never hear any of these people telling someone that they were a garbage man.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah. You're a mechanic.
Like, yeah, which is cool. But I mean, I agree, and I think that's pretty well accurate. But at the same time, like, I've had interesting experience. I used to do the Joe Rogan flotation tank stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard about that?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with those.
Okay, so I used to do that quite often, and I have had like out of body experiences where I saw, I don't know if I want to call them past lives, but I saw me as another person living at a time that I had no frame of reference for. Like, it wasn't like a place or somewhere that I've been, and it wasn't like a movie I've seen, or I had like no, frame of reference. So I mean, some of it was kind of accurate. I think, like I said, some of it was a little hokey pokey, hippy dippy bullshit. But all in all, there was some just good pieces of life advice. Which, if you take that out of it, I mean, I don't think it's worth $80 an hour. But if you're not paying for it, hell, listen to the old psychic lady tell you how to, be a better person into your past and future lives, and I think you can get something out of it if you really want to.
Yeah, isolation tanks, right?
Yes, I used to do that all the time. I loved it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never experienced the isolation tank, but it's definitely something that's kind of been on my list.
It's relaxing.
Yeah, right on. Well, Nick, we're rolling in about an hour and a half. I think it's a good time to kind of roll this one down and
sure.
do it to it. I still have a couple of video shorts that I wanted to make tonight and get out there. So, guys, I want to thank everyone for coming out. This was a good time. Thanks, Nick. I'm glad we were able to make it work and get you patched through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Guys, if you aren't on Instagram already, I'm trying to not be so Twitter reliant. So if anyone who's on Instagram, feel free to give me a follow on Instagram. I've been a lot more active over there, and I will continue to be so. So I'm going to put my Instagram link in the chat. I would love to stay connected with any of you over there. Guys, I realize I hardly have any followers on Instagram, and
yeah, same here. I don't really use Instagram too much, but I'm trying.
I have been more active. It's decent. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. This was a great time, and we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. I will anyway, and I'll
be back tomorrow. I just after tomorrow I will be gone until Monday.
Well, that's when I got to get Sadaf back in here. So Sadaf,
yeah,
I got to get her back in here. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Until next time, this is Steven Steele and Nick Balls signing out. Take care, y'all.
Guys.